All right. So what's up, Rene? What's going on? What's up with
What's
you?
going where? Where?
Huh?
What's going on where?
With you, man. I mean, we spoke a couple of days ago. You were on the show, but I mean, every day it's a new story. Every day, look at the World Health Organization just came out and said that you can't catch COVID from asymptomatic people, which is what they said the opposite just a month ago. So to me, I'm kind of, I mean,
That's a
obviously it's
joke,
not,
man. That's
huh?
a joke. That gives Trump the reason to give them the brush.
Well, so I was watching. Uh, uh, so let me finish this. So COVID-19 was supposedly, if even if somebody was asymptomatic, meaning they showed no symptoms, they could spread it to people.
Yeah, of
And
course.
now the World Health Organization is saying that no, they can't. And same thing when they said that the virus survived on surfaces for a period of time. And now they're saying that no, it doesn't, you can't catch it. So I kind of compare this to like when we were younger and the AIDS epidemic came out, when AIDS became a big issue. And they were saying, well, don't sit where somebody with AIDS sits, and don't hug somebody who has AIDS or you'll catch it. It's like they don't even know. They don't even know what the fuck is up with this damn disease. And
Okay.
and an economist, going back to what you said about Trump. So an economist that I was reading upon stated that all this shit about COVID-19 is a sham, is to distract us because in September last year, everybody's economy went to shit, and that they're stopping everything because that's why they're printing all this money, because they're trying to catch up or something like that. That's what I understood. But that the economy is all fucked up around the world. Money is irrelevant. It's going to become irrelevant. Cash money.
Speculation. That's what you're doing now, is speculation. I mean, well, that might happen, that might not happen. The case is something was happening before this. That's a fact, for me at least. Because what about that Brexit thing? And what about all those movements around the world, like everybody going to their own places and nationalism and the economy all the time? And I think what's happening is that not everybody's economy has gone uh, wrong. I think that the Western economies have gone bad. I mean, it's been happening. It's like when you have a bubble and you inflate the bubble and you inflate the bubble and you inflate the bubble. At some point, it's going to blow. So maybe they are deaccelerating the economy because they know they can't catch up with the thing. And when I say they, I say we. Maybe we can't catch up with the thing we've created,
The debt.
and
You
and
think the
that's
debt? Las
no,
deudas?
no, just the consumption. I mean, just look at this very objectively. You consume and consume and consume and consume and consume and consume more and more and more and more. The wealth of the nations looks like, I mean, staggeringly high. If there is poverty and if there is hunger in the world, it's just because humans have decided not to fix it. I read once that if humanity wanted to really get rid of hunger, that that could happen in 1 week or 2 weeks, and that's a fact. You want to get humanity rid from hunger? Okay, so take all that food that lies everywhere in the US, in Europe, in Mexico, even in many places in the world, all this luxury and all these lavishly living lives. And you take all that, you distribute it properly, and everybody could have a good food, a good plate to eat, and everybody will have the water needed. It's just this greediness, this enormous greediness will live upon, and the fact that we all accepted the greediness.
It,
Humans tend to accept every system that's put upon them, and greediness is a system.
but what do
So
you think? What do you think creates greediness? Is it human nature to be? Is it human nature to be greedy? Because we all know the saying.
now
What,
you're going
what,
deep.
I'm
Now,
just okay. Okay, that's my. But we've always heard the saying, you're gonna die, you're not gonna take this money with you. And I understand you want to leave your kids well off. Like you don't want your kids to suffer. But damn it, maybe you should leave your kids in a position where they should create their own damn wealth. They should, because then what is the meaning of life if everything is just given to you? Quite honestly.
What was the question?
So the question is, do you think
Where does greediness come
where does greediness come from? Why are people greedy? Why? What is there to gain?
Well, Cisco, that's a long question with long answers. I mean, it's just like really, if you take it that far, I may have to take it this far.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I think the universe is greedy. I think the universe in which we live by nature is greedy. I mean, remember the universe. Well, this is what Carl Sagan and all these people say. All these collisions between galaxies make the universe evolve. So evolution is violent. So all this thing that creates us and binds us together, and this natural force that all these scholars and all these people that believe in spirituality speak about, is that everything is so interconnected that everything happening in the universe is happening in each and every one of us. And then that's the theory. If we make ourselves happy, we will be making the universe happier because we make that. So it's like in this movie in Men in Black Part 2, I think. It comes this man in black and he says, well, it doesn't, you don't cry because it rains because you cry. And then greediness seems to be, I don't know, in the very heart of existence.
So do you think it's human nature to be greedy?
Well, let's say this, okay? There's a guy, or there was a guy named Meher Baba, somebody from India. There's a lot of people who believe in him and they go to India to visit Baba's place. And they have all these kinds of ideas, but it seems that Baba, quite in a way really different from other spirituals, he wrote a book. He wrote a book and he says in the book, well, I wrote this because, I don't know, I don't remember exactly, but what Meher Baba says about this is that creation is a treason. He says in this book named God Speaks, poorly translated into Spanish, but well translated into English, I think. In this book, he says that God extends and passes upon itself or himself or whatever self he is, and he creates the creation, therefore, or then betraying himself, because then he breaks the unity. This unity that the universe is, and this paradox that the universe is, gets betrayed by this own universe creating the creation, creating gravity, creating all this, just all this energy and matter dancing all around. And there seems to be some greediness in creation. So when you ask me, and that was the question you were asking me about what I think about greediness, why human is greedy, is it by nature? Well, if humans belong to the universe, somebody calls that God, somebody calls that the big spirit, somebody calls that many, many things. But if humans are there, then greediness is natural.
So it is human nature. Oh, so you are saying it's human nature. But is it
natural? I mean, it's natural to tigers.
But what you're saying, okay, so what you're saying is about how the universe, is it kind of like you're describing the yin and the yang? So you got to have both. So like you have the universe creates itself, but then it destroys itself. It's like that counterbalance, kind of, maybe.
I think in this case, I will have to cite authors and people that have spoken about this in the past.
Mm.
And yes, the thing about creation is that it needs balance. It can be the light, it can't be the darkness. It can be the light, it can be the darkness, but more or less, let me say this. You know who describes that perfectly? And I cannot put the music because YouTube would retire this. But I would ask for permission from him to, if I had the means, and maybe I could do something about that.
Cool.
The song is Tug of War.
Tug of War?
Tug of War. Tug of War by Paul McCartney. McCartney says, well, it's a tug of war. For with one thing at another, we will try to outscore each other in this tug of war. That song is so profound. And it just sounds like I don't know, it's a tug of war. What with one thing at another, it's a tug of war. We expected more, but with one thing and another, we were trying to outdo each other in a tug of war.
That's interesting.
That's Paul McCartney, sir.
That's interesting. I mean, because you can say that in our lives, we're constantly in a battle of tug of war in different aspects of our lives. And sometimes to win on one end, we have to let go on another end. So, wow. Yeah. I don't even know if I've ever heard that song. But that's,
okay.
That's very interesting.
Okay, you mind if I try to put up some music here? I mean, Zoom doesn't let me do this.
Doesn't YouTube copyright violation?
No, it doesn't. No, this thing that I can put here, I can use that because I have the license. It's something called artlist.io. For 4,000 Mexican pesos, you get a lot of music you can use. And
really?
It's completely free of rights, yeah.
So 4,000 pesos, that's like $5, right? I'm just kidding.
No, there was like $200.
It's like $200.
Yeah.
Give or take.
I'm gonna just wait a moment. I'm gonna get my iPad so I can put this thing in another entrance here.
Go ahead.
And it might sound okay. Okay, just a second.
All right, go ahead.
No problem. I have a television show now on YouTube. Let's establish. Okay, this thing, it's a show on Zoom, but with many of the most important people in show business in Mexico. I mean, we have like 5,000 views here, and we're Daily Motion and Instagram and whatever. Yeah. But here you have Rio Roma and Gianmarco and Adal Ramones and Janet Arceo, Maria León, Penelope Menchaca, and this show with Maria León, as a matter of fact, she was there with us. Yeah. Okay. There's a panel, and the company, the Orchard Group, flagged the video because we used parts of the images in Maria León's video during the interview. You see, by Zoom, Yeah. And it's the same people on the radio show plus my wife. It's just interesting because everybody's trying to look if we fight or not. This was Janet Arceo the other day, and you can put photographs and things, and under the boundaries of what's legal, and if you study and if you call some people, you might have a real late night talk show. Oh. Maybe the people listening to this, English is not my first tongue, it's my second tongue. My first tongue is Spanish all the time.
So, yeah, but I mean, for the people who don't know, you had a TV show for 10 years. You've been on the radio for over 20 years. You've been a journalist. How long have you been a journalist?
I'm a journalist. I'm a musical theater translator into Spanish. I was translating, because before this pandemic, I was translating the School of Rock. Oh. From the same people that did Billy Elliot and Young Frankenstein in Mexico. Both translations I participated. Damn, we were doing now School of Rock.
So that's
And
interesting. That's interesting though. Like, so we've spoken before. You told me you went to school. What was your career? Where'd you major in college?
industrial designer,
Industrial designer.
which
And
I
they,
used to create timelines of production in television. So I pre-produce and I just make the set a line of assembly to assemble that.
so how did you fall into the world of entertainment?
How what?
How did you fall into the world of entertainment?
Well, let me tell you just briefly. I am a late night talk show host, a TV show host. Well, I mean, a late night talk show TV show, a late night TV talk show host. I'm a radio show host for over 23 years. I'm a theater producer. I'm a theater translator. I'm a theater writer. I'm a playwright. I I've lived in Big Brother. I was creating shows for celebrity TV, for reality shows. I'm a television producer. I am an actor. I'm a journalist.
Stand-up comedian.
I'm a stand-up comedian, and that's
Sketch TV, right? Sketch, comedy sketch, right?
We write sketch. We act sketches. We did the first sketch on Trump. Maybe before SNL, we did that.
Yeah, I was there.
Mexico.
I was there. I was in Mexico.
You was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were there.
I was there.
Let's hope he doesn't become a dictator. He'll find us. I mean, he will find us. Oh, that was you. And maybe he finds it funny. I don't know.
So from all those interests or all those jobs you've had, which one is the one that you find most intriguing or most creative, where you feel like you can use more creativity?
All of it.
All of it?
All of it.
So you like all of them? You like doing all of them?
If I don't like it, I don't do it.
No, but I'm saying if you had to choose one, if they told you, you know what, Rene, you can't do none of the other ones, you can only choose one.
Radio.
You love radio?
You know something? People used to ask me in the past, what is better, press, radio, or television? And I say, well, first of all, don't mix television with radio. That's happening now, as a matter of fact, in this YouTube thing and podcast thing, because I do the live YouTube thing, and I just, when it's edited, I take the audio and I bring that audio to SoundCloud and Spotify and whatever it is, okay? Yeah. So that's happening now, but in reality, when you do television, don't try to do radio. And when you do radio, don't try to do television, because radio happens in the mind of the listener. I mean, I am now getting naked in front of the camera.
Well, it sounds like you're playing the kind of music where people get naked, man.
I mean, just close your eyes now, please. There's a plane coming directly to my window, and I haven't noticed because my wife entered the room and she's taking the clothes off me.
What the hell?
As that plane gets closer and closer.
The theater of the mind.
Yeah, that's the theater of the mind.
Theater of the mind. That's, you know, Dick Enberg.
Imagine in television they have to produce a fucking plane coming here, and two sets of. But with radio, you're speaking directly to the mind, and the mind is creating the images you are proposing. So, I said that press is like your mom. You write something, you're fucked, man. I mean, if you make a mistake there, it keeps on print, and now it keeps for the eternity. On the internet. Paper used to decompose. Internet doesn't seem to decompose, so you're done, man. You write something.
Your tweets are there forever, man.
Tweets are there forever now, yeah.
Unless you delete them. I mean, but somebody screenshots it and you're screwed.
So it's like your mother, yeah.
But you know, Dick Enberg was a famous sportscaster that was he was a sportscaster for the Los Angeles Rams back in the 60s, 70s. And he started on radio, and he said that, and man, I used to love listening to this guy, even on television. And because he would describe everything. And they asked him one time, he goes, well, it's because I started in radio. And in radio, I had to describe what was going on the field. I describe, we're going left to right on your radio dial. And, and so is running across in motion, because this is American football, right? He goes in motion. Now he's lined up on the left between so and so and so and so. And then, the quarterback drops back. He has to avoid the rush. He leans to the left. He slashes to the right. And it's like, wow. So, but he was describing what you were watching on TV, yet he was making it sound better than what you were seeing with your eyes, because he had started in radio. And it's just like all the old school. I don't know if that happened in Mexico, where all the old school sportscasters that moved to television, they're just the best, and that's why they don't make them like that anymore. You don't have those sportscasters anymore.
Have you ever heard about Pedro el Mago Septién? Pedro el Mago Septién, que narraba el béisbol de las grandes ligas, de las ligas mayores.
No, never heard of him.
Pedro el Mago Septién was called El Mago, the magician, because he was not in the stadium and there was no television in that time.
What the hell?
So he got all the game by telex.
What do you mean?
And he broadcasted that on Mexican radio as if it were. And the emotion he created there.
What do you mean telex? What's telex?
This thing that enters in.
So he's reading it, but then he's describing what he's reading, like bringing it to life.
He was describing what he was reading,
wow.
And he was not. He was not really watching the
game. Wow.
So the game was happening, but he was creating the world of baseball. Pedro el Mago Septién. That was a character.
So do you think someone in today's...
Look here. This is Pedro el Mago Septién. Transmitting for the XEQ in Mexico. That became XEQ TV, the Channel 9 now. XEQ, you know this, I'm going to show you here with the mouse. X was the letter that internationally was given to Mexico for radio waves.
Yeah. So
this XEQ was radio, and then it was XEQ TV. It happened the same in the United States, WABC, WCBS, and then you take out the W, and then you have a television station.
Well, that's funny because we used to have the first sports station that we had in Los Angeles and Southern California was called Extra Sports 690. It was XTRA. And you know why it was with an X? Because the satellites were in Tijuana.
Yep.
So that's why they call it Extra Sports.
There are lots of stories there, you know. In the bridge between Matamoros and I think it's McAllen, they speak another language, man.
What do you mean?
It's not like you and me. You and I, we speak English, and then we start speaking Spanish, and then we start speaking English. They speak the real Spanglish. Matamoros and McAllen, you know, you just hear this station. I don't remember the name, but it was Thanksgiving Day, and the DJ was running the thing like, hey, you know what? Today is Thanksgiving y vamos a comer el pollito porque el pollito está increíble para hoy, and we're gonna have the best, very, very, very best Thanksgiving party que nunca hemos tenido. And I was, man, this guy is not making any difference with what he's speaking, and he's doing that.
So you were focusing on what he was saying, going in and out of English and Spanish, or how long did it take for you? How long did it take for you to realize it?
It was interesting mainly because it created a different level of consciousness. You know, this different level of consciousness, he was not thinking about what he was doing, you know. And that's a third language.
Spanglish.
That's basically a third language. And you know something, we are seeing some separation again between these north and south things, or east and west things. In Mexico right now, the northern states are really getting away from the central government.
As far as what? What do you mean? As far as culture?
They have created 7 states, have created one single block to mainly state their own plan against coronavirus, and saying, we're not going to send you the money. We need to check out that thing we have with you. So those northern states closer to the USA, that's like, it could be another country, man.
You think
An
so?
extra country. Not that the US expands more. It might be as if, I don't know, maybe even culturally. Tijuana, for example, for years and years was not connected by land to Mexico City, but it was completely connected to the USA. People went to buy milk and then went back.
Yeah.
Now, as it grew and grew and grew in troubles, it seems like there's divided, but basically it's the same ecosystem.
Yeah.
And that's so interesting about what's happening now in Mexico and the United States. In this show I've just showed you, my guest for this Saturday.
Hola,
Let me show you this. My guest for this Saturday.
The hybrid culture that's been created.
And
on both sides of the border, not just in Mexico, because even like the cowboys, the Southern cowboys of Texas, they know the Mexican culture just as well, that as well as the vaqueros del norte de Mexico know the American culture. You know what I mean? Like there's been like a cultural exchange there.
What can I say?
And then you have the Cowboys. They're all Cowboys fans.
What can I say? I mean, I have been able to observe both countries. I have been able to be all around. And if you could have seen what I've seen.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You've traveled the world. You've been a lot of places, man. So are you saying what you've seen between the countries along the border, or are you talking about what you've seen around the world?
Let me okay, you will have to edit here to keep the rhythm because I'm just downloading something. Just wait a moment.
It's okay.
Let me go there and let's restart from there, okay? It doesn't matter, this music, if you make the cut, just do a crossfade and it will work perfectly. Really, it's like made for that.
Ed Wood, man, I never seen that movie. I heard it's a good movie though.
Ed Wood is a good movie. I watched that in New York.
Johnny Depp, right?
It was winter and it was my first trip to New York. It was great. I mean, I was there watching Ed Wood, watching every Tim Burton movie and every Woody Allen movie every year, every Woody Allen movie in the Lincoln Center cinemas, and every Tim Burton movie at I think it's 57th Street. I travel a lot to New York. I travel a lot to LA, and I've been around. I know some things, and I don't know, man. Everybody's worrying so much.
About what? Worrying about what? What do you mean?
Greediness.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
People are trying to do politics in the middle of all this. Simply that. Oh, I was going to show you this.
Okay.
Just wait a moment. I'm going to show you. You decide where you edit.
Am I going to get flagged for copyright because it's from your show?
Of course not. This is completely mine. Okay. No, I'm getting. This is kosher for you. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Let me tell you this, man. Let me just stop the music for a moment. Good. And then Okay. Okay, we begin from there. Okay, so speaking about these two country things, two countries things, my guest in that YouTube show, because it's a YouTube show, next week is this guy. I got this today. Let me stop the music now and
Hola, yo soy Rob Schneider.
Yo soy Patricia Schneider.
Nos vemos en la Taquilla Live.
El próximo sábado 13 de junio a las 10 de la noche.
Perfecto.
La Taquilla Live.
Now you had Rob Schneider on your TV show, right? Correct?
Yeah. The sound was okay?
Yeah. It's good.
Okay. So yeah, I have him on my TV show, but I don't believe what's happening now. You know, because of this pandemic, they are at home. Patricia was a producer in Mexico for Telehit, for Televisa. She gets married to Rob. Rob is a very big fan of football team, of soccer team here, the Tigres de la Universidad Autónoma de León. He comes to Monterrey to watch the Tigres, and you get that, you know, this thing about Mexico and the U.S. I mean, where's the fucking difference, really? I see the differences, and I know when there are no difference, you know.
Yeah.
Again, Paul McCartney. Let me put some music that in the mood sounds like Paul McCartney. Let me see.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting you say that, because I was reading that 5 years from now, they're thinking about merging the MLS and the Liga MX and making the North American Soccer League.
And that would be a good movement. But what happens then politically, economically? What happens with the enormous differences that we have between Mexico and the United States?
Economically, you mean?
I mean, economically.
Because I think they've seen. I think what Liga MX has seen is the way that the MLS has run each team financially, and I think it intrigues them, because a lot of teams in Mexico have gotten into economic trouble because of the way they run the teams. Something like that. I read something like that.
Something is wrong in Mexico with soccer. Something is very, very bad. There's a big team being investigated for money laundering. I mean, you couldn't believe that. You know which team? El Cruz Azul.
Oh my God.
El Cruz Azul. His president is being investigated because he seemed to have transferred $322 million that are unaccounted for or something.
From his team or to his team?
I don't know, to Europe. I don't know.
Holy shit.
It's all around in the news. And I say, what? What is that? And then the Liga MX decides there's not going to be, nobody's going to descend to the second division. Yeah, nobody's going to ascend to the first division. And
for 5 years, right?
But the FIFA says, no, this is wrong. After the pandemic, I want that to be reversed. And that's the FIFA, man.
Yeah.
But what are they trying to do with that? What kind of business they are preparing? I mean, they took Morelia out of Morelia, and they are taking the team to Mazatlan, and they're speaking about something to change Querétaro and put a new team in Morelia that's going to be in the League of Ascent. I don't know what's happening even then.
Well, but see, I think those moves that you're saying, like that, no more relegation, no more going down to the second division or the ascending division, as they call it in Mexico. I think that all has to do with setting it up for a North American soccer league, because you know, in MLS, there's no such thing as regulation. There's no such thing as second division. They have the USL and they have the I forgot what the other one was called, but they're like, teams don't move up and down. So I think that's what they're setting up.
Maybe that's what they're preparing for.
Exactly. I think that's what they're preparing for.
Create a super league and then create another second division. And then that doesn't belong to the second division we had here, and that becomes another division, and then you blow the business up. So you become greedy again. Right?
Of course, it's all about money.
So let me explain you something that now it's arising in my mind. we don't know if this thing it's going to end up negatively or positively. We really don't know.
What are you talking about? In regards to what?
I mean, you were telling a conspiracy theater, a conspiracy theater, a
Theory.
conspiracy theory about the economy was collapsing, or in September it collapsed,
Yeah.
the Western economy. And then this is why they created this to slow the economy and redo the thing. Well, if that's the thing, it's going to work. I don't know who's going to end up where, but it's going to work because all of these ideas are to rekindle the economy. You know, some people that have kept their jobs have been able in the middle of this crisis to pay their credits. There's something about being in confinement. You don't spend that much as you used to.
Yeah.
I mean, the delivery business is booming, but booming. And even so, you're not spending that much because you took a dive, and now in Mexico, we are taking that dive at home, which is really interesting. Because if that dive was going to happen in the economy, which better way to pass through it with the lesser damage than at home? Maybe that's why Mexico is planning to invest in, I don't know, technologies of the past. Everybody's saying that the government here is crazy because they're creating a refinery for oil.
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
I know the Mexican government for years and years and years and years, and the forms change, and then the substance changes. But there's one thing about the Mexican government: they know more than we do.
But
Oh,
wasn't there criticism once upon a time because the Mexican government would send the petroleum to the United States to get refined and then bring it back, and it was costing them more to do it that way. So now they're
yeah,
building a refinery, and now they're getting.
yeah, but we don't know how much we owe to the states. I mean,
It's,
remember when a Mexican president around 1982 created a massive economical crisis here, and then when somebody creates something we called the mistake of December, and then the economy went away again. We in Mexico are used to being to know that the economy just goes away.
I mean, it
And
just goes away. What do you mean? It just goes away.
1982, 1976, devaluation. Then the peso costs less than half of what it cost. I mean, you could buy $1 for $12.50. Now it's 25. Now it went from $12.50 to 22.93. But remember that those 22.93 are 22.93 without 3 zeros. So the peso in 1976 you could buy $1 for $12.50, 1975. But in 2020, you can buy $1 for 22,000 or 23,000 of those Mexican pesos. So Mexico's economy has been sliding and going up, and then sliding again and going up, and then sliding again and then going up.
It's a highly volatile economy.
And we owe a lot of money that we didn't know about. And mainly, I think we owe that money to the United States of America. And we know they can't collect. So after supposed ideologies, after what everybody talks about, what I think is they just know more. And maybe in this context, the pandemic, the whatever, maybe in this context, building a refinery might seem like a possible idea. Because if the chains of things stop, you will need a refinery. So why are they doing that? It doesn't sound logic, but maybe it is. I don't know.
Is Mexico a member of OPEC?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're doing strange things also.
I know they forced all countries to stop producing oil to the 7th of July or something like that.
I don't understand anything of what happened there. But it's like Russia and Saudi Arabia, something they offered Mexico to produce 400,000 less barrels. And Mexico said, no, we're going to just produce 100,000 less. So everybody was saying, what? What's this? No, no. And they kept there. And then came Trump. And Trump said, oh, yeah, well, we're going to take those other extra 300,000. Well, that's an arrangement between Mexico and the US, and that arrangement, there's a long line of history between these two countries.
Absolutely.
So can I speak English and be an American? Well, not for white supremacists, no. For white supremacists, I will never be an American, even though I live in the American continent and therefore I am an American.
Absolutely.
I will tell you something. I think there were some riots today and somebody took down the statues of Christopher Columbus.
Where is this?
I don't know. You have to check in the news. It's just happened. Like beep, 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 beep. News. 2 statues of Columbus. I mean, there's one in New York.
So they yanked them down today?
I think that's what it. Okay, Christopher Columbus statues in Boston, Minnesota, and Virginia are damaged. The incident came as protesters angered by the death of George Floyd have targeted monuments that they see as symbols of white supremacy. Statues of Christopher Columbus were damaged.
Shit's getting crazy, man.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about this historic figures. They will have to be revisited.
Here it says Christopher Columbus.
I mean,
statue.
it's a piece of metal.
Hold on, but it says Christopher Columbus statue pulled. They tore it down and threw it in the lake.
Yeah. I mean, poor lake.
When is enough enough?
But you know why? But you know why we're called America?
Why? Because of Amerigo Vespucci.
Amerigo Vespucci, yeah.
Italian guy, man.
He was a cartographer.
Yeah.
He made the map. And at the end, he said, well, this place is called America. And he signed the continent.
He named it after himself.
He named the continent after himself.
What a fucking narcissist, dude.
History is a fucking joke, Cisco.
But what a fucking narcissist. Well, look at all the guys that discover Galileo and all those guys that discover shit in the sky and they just name it after themselves.
Do you know what Galileo was good for?
For what?
A Queen song. Galileo, Galileo,
Galileo, Galileo.
Figaro.
So yeah, I'm looking at a picture of Christopher Columbus and they put "Stop celebrating genocide."
Oh God.
And they painted all. Watch, I'm gonna put it up.
He was the businessman. He was not the killer. Everybody have their history. I mean, out of whack. There you go. There. Stop celebrating genocide. Well, you know what? Christopher Columbus.
Hey, as long as they don't tear down the statue of Martin Luther King in Polanco, because then we'll have a problem. Or, you know what I always found interesting that they put those 2 statues of. They put a statue of Abraham Lincoln facing Martin Luther King.
In Mexico.
In Mexico, in Polanco, which is like the most Jewish area of Mexico, right?
Right.
And it's just, I just found that interesting. I don't know if anybody ever noticed that. I did. I mean, it was, when I went there, I was like, the fuck is this? And the name of the park is Lincoln Park, right?
You know.
What's the name of the park?
Lincoln.
It is Lincoln Park.
You know, now that you mentioned the Jewish community, anti-Semitism is arising again. You know what confuses me? The world is so big, and I mean it, big. It's really big. and maybe no ideology can control it. Maybe we are condemned to diversity.
But why are you saying? Why did you say that anti-Semitism is on the rise again?
Because it is.
Where'd you hear anything? Where'd you hear something?
Germany was really looking after that. Germany was really looking after new groups coming up, and you know, racism is the thing now, and all this battle between races. Jewish are one race. It seems that blacks are another race.
But are Jewish people a race or a religion? Because that's interesting. I mean, I thought Judaism was a religion.
I think the theory is they are both. I mean, that's the.
But then you have Eastern European, European Jews, and then you have.
Let me be careful about that. But let me say that this is what I think about what I've read or heard. It's that. It's the old discussion about the Zionist state, like a state linked to a religion, and that's the thing about the Zionist state. That's what I've heard, and that discussion about the legality or the moral thing about that, I think Jewish is both a race and a religion. Both. It was like that for many, many years with Mexicans, as Mexicans were Catholics. Almost all Mexicans were Catholics, you know. And then the religion drifted away somehow, or it changed into another thing, you know. Christianity has been evolving and changing into different groups since Martin Luther, precisely. And then you have to sit down and rethink all your thinking about what's right and wrong, what's with the race or not the race. And now in these times of racism, in this time of racial encounters, I believe we have to sit down and think. Sit down and think, people. This is not what we are. And that's why, undeniably, we are all humans. That is one thing that might be good to remember.
Well, the problem I see is that, look, man, the world has been built at the expense of certain races of people, and
I don't believe that, man.
You don't believe that?
No.
You don't believe that? You don't believe the story that the Egyptians enslaved the Jews?
I believe the world has been built around the sacrifice of every race.
I mean,
you know something, when I was having a discussion with my stand-up comedy teacher, I salute him, Stephen Rosenfield in New York. He lives in New Jersey. He's been at home all this time. And I was speaking about Trump and the Trump base, you know, and I was saying, you know, why these people, and he said, don't be confused. These people are the salt of the earth. Their grandparents built this country, you know, and now they feel they have been left out. And the factories have gone elsewhere, and people have taken all their grandparents built and took that somewhere else because of the money, and just the money. And Trump has read into that, and he knows that. And these people have been forgotten. And these are all white people. Remember, Michael Moore, the first thing he created was a documentary about Flint, Michigan, in which simply the factory went away. Imagine the Bayer factory goes out of Leverkusen, you know, in Germany. The town just dies. You take that to China. Now China is a superpower. And then you get scared and say, no, let's get back all this, and we're gonna get back all this, and we're going to make America what it used to be. Well, they're gonna go for it because nobody else offered a solution. Obama didn't offer a solution, and he was explaining this to me, and I was thinking, man, this is another vision, and it's correct. These people build this, I was going to say this country, I mean Mexico. These people built the United States of America, and then they have been forgotten.
Yeah, but they built it on the backs of slavery, man. And it still exists today.
Much of these people went to war to liberate the world.
They always, okay, but nobody told you to go. And it's not like look, nobody forced them to go. And it's not like we're not grateful.
Really?
I mean, as far as I know, no one was forced to go.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Please look into that. When it was not forcible to go to the war in the U.S. Army, I think that was after Vietnam. Remember, people burning?
Oh yeah, Vietnam, they were drafted. You're right.
I mean, they were drafted. And I mean, they were drafted. And then, you know that Vietnam, it's a split in human history. Boom. Because ideas, ideology, patriotism, it went scattering away in the mind of everyone, saying what is now the question is what is patriotism, what is everything, you know? And maybe we should end this podcast because it's getting late and I gotta go.
One question though, you were a young man when this was all going on about with the Vietnam War and stuff. You were a little kid.
I was too young. I was born in 1965.
Okay. So by the time you were 9 years old, it was coming down, it was ending. You don't remember anything? Like you don't remember hearing about it or what the view was from the outsider's point of view? Oh, one second. I want to let Noah Drucker join us for a second. And I wanted him to chime in on the, this is Rene Franco, Noah Drucker. How are you, sir? New York City. Connect your audio. You're muted.
Unmuted.
There you go, sir. So have you, Rene Franco and I were.
Dude, I met you. We ate at Cantor's Deli together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We did.
When did that happen?
Greenblatt's.
Greenblatt's. Yeah, we went to
Greenblatt's. Yes, of course.
So Noah.
Carnal.
Igualmente, Noah. Oye, Noah, baja un poco o sube tu cámara.
Oh, sorry, sí.
Ahí estás.
Es que mi novia está viendo la tele en la sala, por eso estoy en mi dormitorio. Y, we can talk English. I don't know why I'm speaking Spanish.
Sit down, feel comfortable.
So we were talking about. He says that anti-Semitism is on the rise in Germany. Have you heard? I mean, you're Jewish. I mean,
it's on the rise in New York. They said in the last year, there's like a 80% increase in anti-Semitic hate crimes in New York City, but it's a little misleading because it's against like Hasidic Jews who are like the Jews that you can see that they're Jewish. Like me, you know, I'm like a day walker. You know, I blend in. You don't know that I'm a Jew necessarily until you hear me talk and complain about shit. But
now, something we were talking about is being Jewish a religious thing or a cultural thing, an ethnic thing, a racial thing?
It depends who you ask. For me personally, it's more cultural than anything because religion is religion. Well, no matter if you're Catholic, you're Jewish, like if you're skeptical, you're skeptical. But I do feel very attached to the culture because my grandparents are Holocaust survivors. So,
oh wow,
so I feel like it's my duty to some degree to sort of keep the traditions and stuff alive.
I think that's a lot of us. I think a lot of us continue practicing the religion
Mm-hmm.
to respect for our parents. I mean, I think a lot of people, sadly, some people don't believe in what they're practicing, but they do it because they feel like it's a letdown to their parents.
Right, and that's what I feel like, and I see a lot of that. I think I see that, like the people that just uncritically consume religion, that just don't even ask questions and take everything. And there's something beautiful about people of faith, quote unquote, but that's not me. I don't know. How about you, Rene?
Well, about Judaism or about race?
Oh, about your views on religion in general.
Like practicing your religion, do you do it
Well, you
because
know,
out of respect for your parents?
I heard once. Well, you know, I was not raised a religious person.
Okay.
I was raised as an atheist.
Oh,
Wow, that's rare. In Mexico, no less. Wow.
Yeah, well, but then
you were popular.
over the years, it was revealed that my parents, my father believed in San Benito, and my mother believed in Virgin Mary, and that was when I was like 45 years old. So I said, because we since we were in Mexico, and I was born and raised around. I mean, in the 1968 Olympics and the 1968 massacre of Tlatelolco.
Yeah, you were there for that?
I was 3 years old.
Okay, that must have been a crazy year in Mexico.
I just remembered the closing of the Olympics. I have a vision about that. But then I grew in the aftermath of that. That's what happened. I grew I grew to watch the consequences of 1968 in Mexico. So I was raised an atheist because there was a movement in South America then in the 70s. The world was a mess. It was more or less like today.
I was going to say, it's funny you mentioned 68 because I think of if any year has a parallel to 2020, it's 1968, both in America and abroad. The student protests in Europe, the massacre in Mexico, Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy in the U.S., all within a few months of each other. It's crazy.
I mean, if you go to...
That's amazing, isn't it?
If you go to Prague, and then you stand there at the square, and then you start reading little plates of the stories of the people that were killed there that day. So that happened in Prague, that happened in Paris, that happened in Mexico, and at the same time started all these South American dictatorships: Argentina, Brazil, Bolivia, Chile. All that was controlled by military,
and backed by the U.S.
Okay, but the U.S., Vietnam, Watergate, Nixon. Blah 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 blah, and if you go to Europe, the history, it has a lot to speak. It has volumes to speak, but then it seems to be back. But what I think is that now everybody is testing ideologies to see which one fits
and what they can get away with.
And the problem is, authoritarians are like now in power. Let's speak about go from Trump to Maduro. Okay, Maduro is a leftist. That's not a leftist.
They got nothing in common.
And Donald Trump. What is happening here is that Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, it's a right-wing person.
Right.
Our president is a left-wing person who gets along very well with the president of the United States. And now what happens between Putin and this guy in North Korea and this other guy in
Hungary, in Orban.
Hungary? And then we have guys like that all over the place. So people are trying. It's very, very simple. When you live in a strawberry fields forever, there's nothing to get hung about. And when there's nothing to get hung about, you hang from something. Okay, nationalism.
People need something to hang from. That's a good point, man.
Dude, interesting you brought up Chile, because I just saw the movie on Netflix called Colonia. Have you seen it?
No.
So Colonia Dignidad, which was a German Nazi colony. It existed in Chile under Pinochet, and Pinochet would send traders or people he saw as traitors to that colonia, to that colony, to get tortured and to get information taken out of them by the German Nazis. Dude, you got to watch the movie. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Certain South American countries really got their karma when they let those Nazi war criminals in after World War II. And then 20 years later, they got a bunch of blonde-haired, blue-eyed guys running a junta, running the country, like in Argentina. All these guys, these motherfuckers with German last names, not looking the least bit Argentinian, fucking dropping people out of helicopters.
Dude, they were the same test they were doing on Jewish people, they were now doing on little Chilean boys.
Well, and who are they?
What do you mean, who are they?
See, I mean, leftists,
No,
right wingers.
in Chile, it was Pinochet.
Somebody could blame the Jewish, and somebody could blame the. Nobody could blame the black people. Maybe it's the black people who are controlling the world and giving us the idea that, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it gets you like everywhere. So when your mind can't reach, the best thing you can do is watch, but really observe. Really, really, really observe. Okay, so now it's the sexy moment.
Well, anyways, Noah, I asked you to come on.
Sorry.
I asked you to come on real quick because, you know, we were discussing that, and Rene brought that up about anti-Semitism, and I hadn't read anything about it, and then you're like, yeah, it's been like the last year, so it's like
in New York, there's been a lot of it because what you have in New York is that you have like very conspicuous Jews, people that you look at and know they're Jewish because they wear the hats, they got the curly hair, and
the Amish Jews, you said, right?
Yeah, they're like Amish Jews. So they live in a neighborhood where they live right next door to like Black Caribbean people, and their cultures could not be more different. But they've coexisted somewhat peacefully for a very long time, living in these neighborhoods in Brooklyn. But you know, things get pushed to a limit with this COVID, or the earliest reports about it, it was spread earliest in the Hasidic Jewish community because they're like Amish. They don't get the news. They get their news from the rabbi on Saturday, and the rabbi tells them what's going on. So they weren't properly being communicated to about social distancing, any of that shit. And they do they have 12 kids in the family. They have big weddings, big everything. You got to have at least 10 people together in a room just to say your prayers. You got to have what's called a minyan in Hebrew. So they were spreading it very fast, and they were still having these funerals after the lockdown went into these big public spectacle funerals. So Black people living in the same neighborhood and other white people that are not Jewish or not Hasidic living in the neighborhood are like, listen, you're putting us all in fucking danger by doing this shit. And it escalated because the Hasidic Jews like, don't you tell me how to live my religion. And
they don't understand. They didn't understand why they were telling them that.
They thought they were being persecuted. It was reflected. These are people, the Hasidic Jews are direct descendants of people that moved from Europe after the war. They all...
So like Hungarian Jews?
Hungarian, Austrian, Polish, a lot of Polish, or Russian Jews.
So Orthodox Jews.
So tensions got escalated with the whole COVID thing, and people were blaming the Jews for spreading it in Brooklyn specifically. And, tensions rose, and there was some kids going around just like, if they saw a Hasidic guy in the street, they'd, fuck with him, punch him in the head, or just, steal his bag or whatever. So there's a lot of that. And also it doesn't help that, like, a lot of the old Nazi conspiracies from the 1930s are now being recycled by the right wing in America. These like George Soros. Anytime you hear George Soros in a conspiracy, like, just recalibrate your shit, because George Soros is the cartoon Jew from the Nazi posters that looks like a rat with the big nose and the claws and the teeth. That's all he is. He's a boogeyman. That's like, anytime they just throw his name in there, and it's a buzzword for other white nationalists. And like, oh, well, then this has to be true. It's got to be the Jews. If Soros involved.
Wow.
Well, what you have now, it's not only anti-Semitism. Is anti-black,
Uh-huh.
anti-white, anti-police,
Anti-truth.
anti-protesters, anti-Americans, anti-Mexicans.
Yeah.
O sea, today is anti-everything. And so in reality, it's a much older question.
Yes, it is.
It's truth against lie. That's the thing. The thing that's the boiling point here is that because nobody escapes really the logic. We have martyrs on the logic. Socrates,
It's
the
terrible.
I mean, how do you call it? The sophists?
Sophisticated? Oh, sophists. Sophistry.
The
Yes.
sophists, because in
People that just want to argue just to argue their point, but they don't believe anything.
In Mexico, you say sophistas. But these sophists, they created a logic that had no logic. But it sounded good, it sounded well, and politicians have been using this for eons.
And lawyers.
Sophistry is the same thing as trolling. Sophistry is just troll. It's a fancy word for trolling, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, but Socrates was just debunking everything and debunking everything and debunking everything. So they created some kind of trial, and then they made him drink
the hemlock,
puta, and then he dies. Okay, but the thing is, it's logic against illogic. It's truth against lie.
So much easier to spread a lot. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Let me just say about what's the danger of racism as a lie. All right. What is more important, race or culture?
Neither.
Culture.
I'm gonna say this to prove a point that is logical, okay? Much people that really don't like Jews, they go in New York to the B&H superstore to buy their cameras, their computers, and whatever, and they love the thing. They have these little suites, and they don't open till Shabbat, but they open on Sundays, which is very good for people who travels to New York to go to that store, okay? And you love all these crates coming down, and you buy a camera, and you speak with the people there, and it's great service, and it's a great business orientation to create a store like that in the middle of Manhattan, right? Okay. Then you are anti-Jew, and then you destroy all the Hasidic Jews from New York. You expel them, get out to the sea, okay? Right. And then you say, I'm gonna run this store. No, you are not gonna run that store because you don't have the culture that made that people run the store. So you take them out because of race, and you're just stupid losing the culture that provides, that comes with these different people and places and things that enriches all the time the experience of living. So you're an idiot.
Yeah. No, in English, it's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Like if you're mad at your face, you cut your nose off, but then your face is even more fucked up than it was beforehand.
That's fucking interesting, dude. That's crazy. That's an interesting observation.
No, that is true. I never thought of culture in such a broad context, but when you say it like that, yeah, if that's your definition of culture, it makes sense. You know, it's the difference.
I mean, if that's not culture, then what it is?
No, you're right. It's an extension of their culture, and I think that the various cultures are what makes New York the most amazing city, in my opinion. You know, it's that the various cultures coming together and coexisting somewhat peacefully. But we still got work to do. We still got to improve a lot of stuff. It's still not as good as it should be in terms of equality and
segregation.
And just equal opportunity, just like looking at someone and not judging them right away based on what they look like.
The problem of the U.S. going in this direction is that it is the U.S. When you go to the United States of America, you get a lot of all these cultures in lots of places. I mean, you can go to a restaurant like Mollywood's in the 7th Avenue over the Wellington Hotel, and really, I never ate in in Greece as good as I can do that in New York in that particular restaurant. But then I go with Cisco. You drive down to Santa Ana, California. You go to El Gallo Giro, las carnitas de Michoacán, the best carnitas de Michoacán ever. Okay, so what? Do I have to choose between carnitas de Michoacán and the Greek food? Do I have to choose between between the Jewish food, which is really, really good because it comes from the desert? You know, do I have to choose between a good hamburger or something from China or something that comes from Korea?
You got to choose. The racists got to choose between tacos michoacanos and being racist.
Well, here's the problem. The problem is this, man, is that we don't grow up next to each other. So we base our observations on media coverage and television shows, which is stupid, rather than personal. So, and then if the limited contact that we have turns into a negative experience, that's it.
Race
for the rest of your life.
They don't do the work to look past one negative experience. They just let that negative experience define things instead of saying, well, maybe this one person was an asshole. They don't represent.
But that's what I'm saying, because we don't live next door to each other, so we don't know, man.
De facto segregation. Like,
exactly.
Like Jim Crow laws. There's no laws that say black people got to drink from a separate fountain or live in a separate neighborhood. But there's redlining, and when neighborhoods were formed after World War II and the expansion, there were red lines drawn on the map saying, okay, this area is only for white people, and this area you can sell to black people. They wouldn't sell to black people within those red lines.
Dude, I just saw that on the Netflix documentary, "Burn the Motherfucker Down." It's called
about Philly,
but the '92 riots here in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
And how and this
that happened across the country too.
This black, well, you know the area, you know where I live and all that. So this area, like where I live, was all white all the way to Compton.
It was white, working class, blue collar people.
And on the other side of Alameda was black, and you couldn't. And the police would now not allow black people to. You just said red line. That's what they drew on the map. They were showing it. They said you kind of had to stay in this box as a black person, because if you left this area,
you were at risk.
Going to get your ass.
The police couldn't be responsible for what happened to you if you left there.
That's some crazy shit.
Sometimes the police would get you themselves, but sometimes it would just be someone else would get you, and the police like, I can't help you.
It's like being in Bensonhurst.
I'm gonna go philosophical again.
Okay.
Race is a matter of location.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
The reason why black people have this skin color is because of the sun in the places they used to live when humans were scattering around. You didn't need that much pigmentation in cold. You needed that pigmentation in the kind of sun that you were living. So this didn't happen over a week or two. It happened for a lot of years. So you can then see all these different skin tones. But then what happens? This, okay, you want to abuse another group of humans. Then you say, okay, who are the ones that are mine? Well, this is my team, right? The first primitive thing you do is you choose the people that look like you, even when that person can be a psychopath and can kill you. I mean, it's a white person, but they're choosing him and he can kill you. He can be a traitor, he can destroy you, but you choose him because he's white or black. Yeah. Because black people also segregate. Chinese segregate, Mexicans segregate themselves. And if everybody segregates themselves, something bad is going to happen.
So let me ask you something. If we were to scatter everyone, and I'm talking about around the world, and it didn't matter what color you were, what ethnic you were, would people seek out to live next door to people who look like them? Mm-hmm. Or would they move into an area to seek people who spoke the same language as them?
Definitely language.
What do you
Actually,
think,
I don't
Rene?
know.
What do you think, Rene? Say like you, okay? So you had.
I didn't listen to the question. I was daydreaming.
I said if they scattered people around the world, it's just hypothetically, people were scattered all over the world, and you were made to live in somewhere you've never been or whatever, and so were other people, and you were put in an area that was black, Asian, white, brown, Middle Eastern, whatever. Now, do you think people? But even though we're all different colors, different shades,
Make it simpler.
we okay. But I'm saying, would people look for to live next door to people who look like them, or would they move to or they look for people who spoke the same language as them?
Make it simpler. You live in a city in which every race coexists door to door with the other race. So don't say that a scenario will happen. That scenario happens.
No, but we all
the
speak the
time.
same language. That's the difference. So I
All-
know. So since we all speak the same language, people seek people who look like them. But I'm saying, what if you live
No, but
somewhere where not every
all the time you are collaborating, living with, going to the movies with people from different races, ideas, colors, cultures. In Los Angeles, that's just like that. You are all over the place, right? That's your right as one of Los Angelinos.
well, New York and Los Angeles, I
But
think.
but
Yeah,
that
Chicago, all the
but
big
that-
cities.
Or Mexico City, for that matter.
yeah, but that's no. But Los Angeles is much more impressive, or New York in that case, much more impressive. I mean, Mexico is not that racially mixed. Most of us are just Mexicans.
Brown.
And
Everyone's
but the thing
brown.
is, yeah, well, it's starting to happen, but it's not like that yet. But let me tell you this. Okay, that's okay when you have money and space and you feel okay. But when you feel endangered or you feel that you are not going to be able to provide, or you seem there's no future, or you seem or you look trapped, well, you will start to look to be in a group. So then all this mix that America, United States of America, has created over the years, I mean, it's a you could be sitting in a keg of powder if you don't fix the economy, if you don't get a president that really knows how to unite and inspire, not look and destroy, not seek and destroy, you know?
Right.
Inspire and unite, right?
Yeah.
But now we have these people looking to divide everybody because that's what works for politics.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens after this crisis. Because the other day Trump tweeted, "Oh, the mail ballots, there's gonna be fraud in November." Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you don't tweet that unless you have
Evidence.
numbers. So what I think is he got the
preparing.
numbers and he knows he is going to lose, or he is in a real possibility of losing. So then when somebody calls fraud before an election in Mexico, now we have a government that's saying that there's a plot against them, and they presented something very stupid. They presented something saying that thing proved that these people will vote us out of the, and then everybody says what? Everybody laughed. But they're already calling names and saying that they want to overthrow us from power. That's what Trump is saying. And then Twitter, in a genius movement, say, okay, check the facts. Just check the facts because this is untrue. So they took a stand, a real stand there. And that means there's a human still running the place. So it's very interesting that these people are calling from no elections, no elections, no. The elections are going to be rigged. Why is a president saying that?
That's a
Maybe
move of
their numbers are not working.
That's what authoritarians do. like you were talking about earlier, Rene, authoritarian leaders around the world, they cast doubt on the integrity of elections so that when they lose, they can say, this is fake. I really won. I'm still your leader. I'm supposed to be leading you, right?
Today I'm reading lyrics. I'm gonna read the lyrics of one song that we need to hear. But you. Okay. Look at this. From Stephen Sondheim, from Into the Woods, the musical. Mother cannot guide you. Now you're on your own. Only me beside you. Still, you're not alone. No one is alone. Truly, no one is alone. Mother isn't here. Wrong things, right things. Who knows what she'd said? What she'd say? Who can say what's true? Nothing quite so clear now. Do things, fight things, feel you've lost your way? You decide. But you are not alone. Believe me, no one is alone. Believe me, truly. People make mistakes. Fathers, mothers, people make mistakes holding to their own, thinking they're alone. Honor their mistakes, fight for their mistakes. Everybody makes one another's terrible mistakes. Witches can be right. Giants can be good. You decide what's right. You decide what's good. Just remember, someone is in your side. Someone else is not. While we are seeing our side, maybe we forgot they are not alone. No one is alone. So these people are not alone. Trump, Maduro, López Obrador, they are not alone.
No, of course
That's the
not.
problem. They won't be able to do what they did if they were alone. They won't be able to get to where they got if they got a lot of bad, unsavory little helpers.
So something very fucked up should be happening up there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell is happening up there, but I don't know. I really don't know. But you know, Prince Charles had COVID, and then the Brexit, and then Trump, and then this new Mexican government, and then Maduro, and then this, and then Bolsonaro, and then Europe, and then Putin, and then the guy from China, and then that everybody goes there, and then something is not right.
It doesn't fucking end. It's a casket. I was saying, it's una casca de mierda. I was talking to my ex-girlfriend in Mexico today. It's una casca de mierda. One thing after the other just keeps falling on you.
But you know, we're again extracting the fucking best we have to give from shit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing this show now, and this show is going to be watched from it's going to be watched by. Sorry, English is not my first time.
People are going to be seeing me?
Yeah.
Oh,
and somebody will listen to this. Somebody. I may post it on my channel now. I may. Why not? No, really, why not?
I was half asleep. I came out of bed for this. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
All right.
That's all right.
We're about to wrap up anyways.
You thought this was just a conversation?
Yeah, man. I just wanted to talk to Cisco. He said, come on, man.
Oh, but you're having great all the time, you know?
Yeah.
No, man, I didn't even know you were going to be here, Rene. It's such a pleasure to see you, man.
Well, that's why I told you to come on, because we were having a discussion about the anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
And
I didn't even know who was going to be here.
I wanted to, you know, the only Jew friend I have, man. All the other ones stopped talking to me.
The only Jew friend you need.
I have a lot.
Yeah, a lawyer at that.
I have a Jewish cousin. I have Jewish nephews, and 2 nieces, 1 nephew.
In Israel, correct?
Yeah, in Herzliya, at the north of Tel Aviv.
Oh, wow. My sister is married to an Israeli, actually. My brother-in-law is Israeli. They're no joke, the Israelis.
Oh, that's my cousin Betty.
Mm-hmm.
She met this person in Mexico. So they were studying. My English is going now. They were studying to be dentists. To be dentists, right? So then they fall in love, and they go to live in Tel Aviv, and then she converts to Judaism, and then they have kids, and then those kids are my 2 nieces and my nephew, and that's it.
That's beautiful, man. That's nice.
Oh, it's very nice. It's very nice. I didn't know that until I was going. I was going to visit, and then my father told me, "Hey, call your cousin. She, well, she lives there. Why? Oh, because oh, really? Yeah. Oh, okay. So I was coming back from Jordan because I went to watch the ruins of Petra.
Oh, dude, I've always wanted to see Petra.
Yeah. You want to see some pictures about that?
Petra's my neighbor, bro.
Petra is your neighbor. Yeah.
That's Indiana Jones' Temple of Doom, man. That's the Temple of Doom.
¿Qué onda, Petra? ¿Qué hablan?
Yeah, I was coming back from Jordan, and then my cousin sent me a plane that was going to fly from Eilat to Tel Aviv, and well, we were there. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna show you some photographs. Okay,
Show us, Rene. Show us.
this is a good thing. Okay, this is Petra. You know that place you walk there inside there, and you can see the floor is like created because the Romans did that. The wind did those walls, but the floor was created by the Romans because they wanted this to happen.
That is
Horse
bad.
carriages.
I've watched so many documentaries about that. I'm fascinated by Petra, man. I
That's
swear.
damn, that's amazing.
Yeah, look at that. Look, it looks like an elephant.
Yeah.
I was taking those photographs, and then you walk and walk and walk, and then you see something like that. You see, and then you go there. It was much heavy.
Is that created out of the mountains?
Yeah, they carved
Yeah.
it into the side of the mountain.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they carve it from the mountain.
That's in Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom. That's where he entered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. Wow.
Moharam.
The things a human
And
race
look at that.
has done.
Look at that. Inside Petra, there's a Roman theater
That's awesome.
because the Romans did all that. You know.
Yeah.
We should see if we could get a night there.
Yeah, right.
Okay, let me show you something. Okay.
Stand up en español esta semana in Jordan, in
All right,
Petra.
all right. A lot of
I
things.
heard you
there.
have to work clean, though.
Am I going too fast? Am I going too fast? Yes.
No, it's good. It's
No,
good.
that's good.
Okay.
Short attention
Petra,
span. dude.
Petra. Okay, I want to show you something like this. Yes. This was it. Let me see if this works. That should be a video. That should be a video. Oh, it's not working. Yeah, it's not working.
That's not a video, though.
I know, but I had a video. I created a video of me. Oh no, here's the video. Here's the video.
Yeah, it's got the
Let's
seconds.
see. Let's see this. Okay.
Ah.
It looks like Chihuahua.
Yeah, you get out from there in that thing, and you feel like Indiana Jones. But there was something really incredible about this. You cross the border, and then you hop on a van like this one, right? So then we came to a stop. There was an American person with us, and then it was there, and there was a post with people like, I don't know, from the military. And then this American guy says, well, you know, this is where they take us down and shoot us. And we started laughing. And then I said, why are we laughing about?
You should have told them, I'm not American. They're going to take you down and shoot you.
Then see where they take us. To the
Wow.
Indiana Jones gift shop. They have stamps in Indiana Jones. And there's myself again.
Did I just see pack of cigarettes with calcium? What the fuck?
I don't know. Let me see.
That's what it said.
Right
Right there. With calcium. Oh, that's chewing gum. Chewing gum. I thought that was a pack of cigarettes. I was like, with calcium? Wow.
Hey, man, you got to get your nutrients where you can, bro.
Well,
Anyways, guys, thank you guys, man. I mean,
Thanks for having me. It's such a pleasure seeing you both. I got to get to sleep anyway. It's fucking late.
sorry I called you last minute. No, and so
Oh,
I
man,
just,
so we go. Next time, I'd love to go on anytime. Just let me know, right?
Cisco, let me finish this idea.
Go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Rene. I'll let you-
Punch me? Or
cut you off.
No, of course not. Let me.
You know, I've never seen Blade Runner. I've never seen that.
Oh man,
No, me neither.
what?
Or Ed Wood. I want to see both now.
Man, that movie represents the filmed big book about artificial intelligence.
Philip K. Dick. It's a Philip K. Dick story, right?
Now, the Philip K. Dick story is almost not understandable. It's
Well, like most of his shit, he was a crazy person.
this is a work of art by Ridley Scott,
Mhm.
not by Philip K. Dick. He really understood something about the Philip K. Dick thing, but when you read the book, you don't find what's there. You know, that's the encounter of the man with his creator.
Hmm.
Imagine somebody who was created from artificial, what we are doing now.
Yeah.
You
Siri.
create that and you create a model for war. And then that model for war starts rebelling against yourself. And then you put then in their DNA a 4-year span, right? And then one of those goes looking for his creator to ask for more time.
Holy shit.
That's
wild.
what Blade Runner's about. I mean, just go there and watch the director's cut, and we can. I've watched that movie like 150 times. That's my favorite movie ever.
I got my movie posters up. You can't see them there. It's not in my bedroom. But yeah, no, I got my favorites. But yeah, no, I've been meaning to watch Blade Runner for like 20 years. I've rented it so many times and never got around to watching it.
You got Ozzy and Harriet up on your wall?
Who,
Mhm.
me?
Yeah.
No, I got Pulp Fiction and Run Lola Run.
Dick Van Dyke Show? No Dick Van Dyke Show?
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. I got Ace Ventura, the first one.
What was the name of the kicker?
Ray Finkel.
Ray Finkel. So what are you looking up, Rene?
Sorry, what's
Okay.
going on?
Before we go, I want to say something. Just let me put some music. That's it.
Let me get you in the mood, baby.
All right.
All right. What's that? Like that Snoop Dogg song? We now reach
I don't know.
We
Something
reached the
happened-
jack-off hour.
Something happened and took me there. You know, I was trying to put cinematic, and then it took me to sexy.
Hmm.
I'm gonna put cinematic to end the thing. I'm gonna put something that's called The Racer
The Racer.
by Tristan Barlon. There it goes. I was saying that the sum of all philosophy for this moment lies in one song by Paul McCartney. The song says, "It's a tug of war." Like somebody discovered this, right? Eureka, it's a tug of war. What with one thing and another, it's a tug of war. We expected more, but with one thing and another, we were trying to outdo each other in a tug of war. In another world, we could stand on top of a mountain with our flag unfurled. In a time to come, we will be dancing to the beat played on a different drum. It's a tug of war. Though I know I mustn't crumble, it's a tug of war. But I can't let go. If I do, you'll take a tumble, and the whole thing is gonna crumble. It's a tug of war. In years to come, they may discover what the air we breathe and the life we lead are all about. But it won't be soon enough. Soon enough for me. No, it won't be soon enough for me. In another world, we could stand on top of a mountain with our flag unfurled. In a time to come, we will be dancing to the beat played on a different drum. We expected more. But with one thing and another, we were trying to outscore each other in a tug of war. Paul McCartney.
That's nice, man. That's nice.
Nobody listens to Paul
Like
McCartney
the
anymore.
march of his, that reminds you of like Marx and Hegel's theory on history, and there's the thesis, the idea of a time, then the pushback, the antithesis, and the push and pull of those two ideas fighting it out over time.
That's what Rene was talking about earlier. That's
Becomes
crazy.
the synthesis. You get thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, and that is what the narrative is over time. And it looks like one line, but it's two lines pulling and pushing at each other.
Isn't that what you were saying earlier, Rene? When we were talking about the universe?
Well, yes. Yes, but what I say now is this. I think it was Hector Aguilar Camín, an intellectual from Mexico. And now he's in the middle of a fight, of a culture war here. When a pendulum goes to the right, it's only gaining momentum to go to the left. Just remember that. You take it all the way you want to the left, the thing you were only making the right to go fiercer than it was before. The problem is this pendulum swings so much back and forth that now it looks like a scythe.
That's good. I like that.
That's all I have to say for today, Cisco.
All right, guys. Well, thank you, man. Once again, Noah, Rene Franco, muchas gracias. Noah Drucker, New York City. Rene Franco, Mexico City. I'm in LA. Thank you guys, man.
Take care,
Cisco.
brother.
Cisco.
I'll
Say
cut
your
it.
name. I'm homie Cisco.
I'll cut it right there. I'll cut it right there.
Say your name. You're the driver here. Say your name.
Say your names. I'm Cisco. Homie. At the
Cisco.
homie. You know why I had to change it?
Signature like this guy from American Idol. I don't know.
¿Quién?
Okay, yeah. Striker off. No sé qué. Bueno, ponle y le subo la música y no te vayas. Tengo algo que decirte. Vamos.
Okay.
Chala.
Está buena la música.
Despídete. Well, I'm homie Cisco saying goodbye or algo así.
Okay. So it's homie Cisco saying goodbye. Thank you for checking out the Donkey Show. El Donkey Show. See you next time.